welcome to the 14th Cork.net Meetup with the title Women in Tech, Head in the Cloud and Heart in the Community with Isidora and Holly. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having us. So for two ladies who are usually on Teams, let's get this going on Zoom. So for me to share, I believe you will have to stop sharing. Yes. All right. So move this away. Now this should work.
I see it.
Working perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So shall we get going, Holly?
Let's do this.
Are we ready? Is the audience ready? Is everybody sit back, relax? All right. So, well, first of all, thank you, of course, to the organization for having us present today. For the people who do know Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community, it has been a great journey for us so far, and for the ones who don't know, we're going to tell you all about it in our session today. Now, what about? All right. Yeah, so the session is brought to you by Holly, Lehman, and myself. And before we start introducing ourselves and tell us a bit more about who we are and our backgrounds, we wanted to share some facts with you. So the event is, well, let's say virtually hosted from Cork in Ireland. We're very thankful for the opportunity that we can join from the comfort of our home office, where Holly is based near Seattle, which is over 7,000 kilometers away from Cork. And I'm based in a little village near Basel, Switzerland, over 1,700 kilometers away. Nevertheless, our hearts are connected. Virtually, our hearts are in Cork, and of course, wherever in the world you are attending the session from today. So, fun facts. Let's start with Holly. Holly has some Irish roots, which we would love to hear more about. So, hit the stage.
Yeah.
Holly.
So we did think it was kind of interesting as we were prepping for this, and we thought, how can we personalize it? And I said, Izzy, the funny thing is, not super strong, but my mom actually does have a bit of Irish. So it is kind of funny because most people don't expect it, but she's got a head full of bright red hair and a spunky personality. So yeah, we thought that was really fun, just that we've got a little bit of roots in the Irish community. So.
Yeah.
Do you know where she's from? Where her family is from originally?
No, we've never really gotten deep into the family history. But, when we think about what my background is, and so we've had little chats here and there. And so she's got a bit of Irish, a bit of Cherokee, and then I jokingly, lovingly say it, a bit of mutt, just a big mix. But yeah, if you saw her, you would know right away she's got some Irish roots in her.
Well, who knows? Maybe one day we can come to the meetup in person.
I would love that.
Hopefully, and
Yeah,
we'll do a bit of genealogy and search for the roots.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So then, a fun fact about me. So the last time I was in Ireland, I was in a wheelchair. I used my lovely fiance Thomas Mauder, who doesn't look too happy, to push me around Dublin. And yeah, anyways, if you want to know why I had a broken toe, stick around for the Q&A and feel free to ask in the chat, and I might give you the answer if Guinness had to do with it or not.
Yeah, I think the question is, was it before or after the tasting? So I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, you might find out in the end. However, of course, something which is very important in our session today is building your brand. And what did I do? I stayed on brand. So I made a fashion statement and I decorated my own foot and cast at that time. So anyway, so those are the little connections that we have with Ireland. All right, so let's get over to our session and first quickly introduce ourselves. So Holly, please tell us more about you.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for having us again. This is such an honor as we do this virtually. A quick little bit about myself. I am a Las Vegas native. I was running around hotels since I could walk. I had the privilege of being in hospitality all front of house to the point that I was able to be a part of a hotel opening. And that was a really fun beginning to the career that I have now. I was a program manager and executive admin in that role. And I took those skills with me and I guess kind of like Izzy, followed my heart. And my husband and I, when we were having our first baby, decided it's now or never. So we came back to where my husband is from, which is in Seattle. And I went from hospitality into the tech world of Microsoft. And I feel so blessed that Microsoft allowed me to take the program management skills and now have a career of 8 years at Microsoft. Program management and my love for community is what's driven me in Microsoft. So I have been able to have the absolute privilege of working with our customer, partner, and MVP communities. It is something that I truly do love, as I now sit as a program manager in the Azure CXP team, running a program that I personally love called the North Star Partner Program for a small group of hand-selected partners that I are near and dear to my heart. Personally, outside of work, I say I am a mom of 3 kids. I have 2 little girls and my sweet little dog Poppy, which if you've seen her, she has made her own little debut at Ignite thanks to Donna Sakar. So that's a little bit about me. Izzy?
Thanks, Holly. Yeah, so about me. So I'm born in Belgrade, former Yugoslavia. I was 4 years old when I moved with my family to Amsterdam, the Netherlands. That's where I grew up all my life. That's also how I mostly feel as a Dutch girl. But then my heart got stolen in Switzerland. And that's where I moved approximately 3 years ago and followed my heart. So yeah, work-wise, community-wise, I'm an IT conference organizer. Of course, currently that's all a little bit challenging as we're not having in-person events. And next to that, I'm a Microsoft MVP awarded last November, and I'm very thankful and grateful to be part of that program, which also, of course, gives opportunities like speaking today at this meetup. And lastly, I have a huge passion for all things in the community. So whether it's blogging or video series, conferences, events, staying connected on Twitter, it's all a huge passion of mine, and I'm very happy to share more about that in the session today with together with Holly. So yeah, so if you're wondering what is this all about, Head in the Cloud, part in the community, Holly, please enlighten the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people that are listening and you might be thinking, I don't want to do a podcast, I don't want to do a video series, take this into a bit of context that we're here to share our story with you and what our passion and what our goal was, and take it and just tweak it for whatever your passion and your goal is. This is our story of what we are passionate about and how we turned it into this awesome adventure that we've created over the last year. So over a joke, Izzy and I have never actually met in person. We did a funny little TikTok video to kind of, bring a little life to this COVID world where everybody was just kind of in a really dark space. And so we thought, let's just have a little bit of fun. And whether people were laughing with us or at us, we did this TikTok dance and realized that we actually get on so well together. We make people laugh. We bring people along with us. And as we were talking, as this, post went out, I sent Izzy a text and I deleted it and resent it a few times, and then finally got enough guts to say, hey, what would you think about doing a video series where we virtually travel the world of all these amazing people in technology and share their story, share their passion, and bring a little hope to this community. Share things that people don't even get to know about them. What are some side hustles that they're doing? What books are they writing? What podcasts are they running? And how can we bring people along their journey as well? And so we decided to go ahead and run with it. And that is how Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community got started.
Indeed. So how did we start from actually executing that idea that we had to start our own video series? So we thought of, before we started, about the branding, about planning, execution. Of course, it's a lot you have to think about and to plan for. So yeah, we started actually first with brainstorming. So what was our mission to run the video series? What are our goals? What do we want to achieve? What are our ideas for the first couple of episodes and beyond? I mean, that's something that if you're looking into, so like Holly said at the beginning, whether if it's you want to start your own video series, or you want to start blogging, or you want to write a book, or a code, or whatever it is that you want to create, I think it's very good before you do so that you set for yourself your goals and your mission that will really guide you a lot better along the way, to achieve those goals. So we started first with our branding. That's something that both Holly and I find very important. We wanted the brand that resonates with us, that's really showing, let's say, our true colors. I mean, as women in tech, in the IT industry, we'll be honest, it can be very challenging, right? When like to fit in, or there are certain expectations, or we feel that there are certain expectations, or that we need to, like, how do we thrive in this male dominated world? Nevertheless, that did not stop us from wanting to show who we are. So you will see pink, and you will see purple, and you will see hearts, and maybe not the standard what you're used to, but that was definitely one of our goals with our branding. So my message there to you is dare to stand out, and something that's really close to your heart. And then, after we had the branding, of course, we needed a lot more. So Holly, please tell us your story about, point 2, about the hardware and everything. Holly?
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I was actually in Mexico with my family when we got notification that, COVID had hit Seattle and it was a hot spot, and I landed back home, and I've not been back to the office since then. It's been over a year now, and so I wasn't ready at all. My office was really just a place where we just threw all of our stuff, and nothing was set up. Microsoft is amazing of how they've treated their employees, where they said, take a day, take whatever you need, set up your office, make it your place. So for me, my office is very proper, right? Some people that we've interviewed, they sit outside. Other people sit in their closet. Make your space where you can really be focused and be creative and energized. And as I set up the office, I realized I don't have anything to do these videos. I didn't have lighting. I didn't have a proper setup. Our Wi-Fi was real spotty, real sketchy. And so for me, I needed to think about, do I have the right lighting? Do I have the right mic? Do I have good router and Wi-Fi service, and what does all that look like? And so I couldn't do it by myself. I reached out to people in the community and said, what do you recommend? What do you use? Why do you use it? And the reason we highlight this is we had to do software and hardware that would advocate for doing video series. If you're thinking about what your goal is, think about what you need to be successful in that goal. And that can be different for everybody based on whatever your goal is. But for me, it was getting my office set up. So I reached out to community, asked for help, tips and tricks, and we're finally a year in set up.
Yeah, what's also great to highlight, Holly, is that of course it was a process, right? It's not that we started and we had like everything ready. So we started first with like getting an external microphone, then a camera, then the lighting. I mean, it's an ongoing process. And I'm not sure if it's an English expression as well, but Rome also wasn't built in a day. So take your time, of course, to make things better. It will not be from one day to another.
Yep.
Planning wise, responsibilities and timeline. So that's something that I believe Holly and I have fantastic teamwork. Mm-hmm. We set our responsibilities and our timelines prior to starting the video series. That doesn't mean that we stick exactly to that. We can of course move a bit left and right. but we know exactly who is responsible for what, so that we can each take our own responsibility. So in our scenario, it's often that Holly takes care of all the preparation work with our guests that we get on our video series. So making sure to get time on their calendar, work together on the questions, make sure to brief the guests the topics we want to talk about. Yeah, basically everything that runs before the recording. And then the recording part, we of course do always together. And then afterwards, I take care of the editing parts, editing, cutting, putting our logos in, our intros, our outros, getting everything uploaded to YouTube, shared on socials, and then of course Holly also reviews. And yeah, I think it's a great teamwork we have. And the message there I want to give you is, if you're looking to doing this with somebody else or even more than one person, define your timelines and your responsibilities. That will really help you a lot better along the process to know exactly who's responsible for what. So yeah, and then lastly, and actually most important for us, are our guests. So yeah, please tell us more about that, Holly.
So for what we're doing, our guests are the celebrity. Our guest is who we are showcasing. And so for you, it might be something else, whether it's writing code or a blog. The thought with us is be really clear and concise as to what the message is and what your end goal is, and make sure that that resonates through all of what you're doing. So again, for us, it's our guest. We don't haphazardly choose our guest. We truly think about from a diversity and inclusion standpoint, from a geolocation. Do we have too many MVPs? Do we have too many Microsofties, right? We really truly want to showcase the entire IT community. And so we sit down, we really think about who we're inviting and why, and what message it is that we want to share from our perspective, and more importantly, from their perspective. So we do a lot of research, we take a lot of time, we do a lot of review, and then we go and we select our guest.
Indeed. Then, of course, running a video series, the goal is that we have a story that we want to tell. And it's the story of our guests. So we have to think of what is the message that we want to bring across. And we try to, for every episode, to really think that through. So what is it that we want to share with the community? And then starting off first, most important for us is what is important for our guests to have highlighted. So is it indeed a book they recently released? Is it a speaker session they're going to have at the next event? Is it their own conference they're running? Is it their YouTube channel they want to promote? We really do the research on our guests about their work, about their side hustles, and whatever they want to bring to light at our show. So that's most importantly for us. Then secondly, we also think of the community, so of the receivers, so the people who are watching or listening to the episodes. What is interesting to them? What is current? We tackle, for example, the COVID situation. How did that change people's life from working full-time in an office to working constantly at home? We spoke about the Black Lives Matter movement. We had many topics which were relevant to share with the community. And then lastly, also very important to Holly and myself, is what do we find important? So you will often see we talk about women in tech, we talk about diversity, we talk about inclusion, we talk about, for Holly, homeschooling her children, her two precious girls at home while she's also working from home. So yeah, we also really try to share our story and the messages that we find important to share. Then, of course, the recording itself. I'll give the stage to Holly.
So this was really important to me. And it's ironic because the garbage truck is actually coming down the street right now. So just know that you're probably going to hear a bunch of noise in a minute. But this was important to me because Izzy and I have been doing community events for years, and running an event, you want everything perfect. You want all of your I's dotted and T's crossed, and there's no room for error because you have so much time to prepare and plan. Well, once you're at home, I have a dog that's barking. I have kids that are opening and shutting my door. I have a husband who's a realtor taking calls from the kitchen. The garbage truck is outside. And there's just so much out of your control in these scenarios that I say give yourself a bit of grace and a bit of patience. And so whether it's you're trying to write a book, or you have a fashion line coming out, or you're trying to create a new piece of code that you're going to put on GitHub, give yourself a little bit of grace that it might not be exactly perfect, but you'll find that those imperfections actually make your end goal even better. Yes. So you will see that I had a little creeper. For those that are joining that are in my North Star Partner Program, you've all met my children, because at this point, it's just not possible to really close your door and sign out from the family at this point. So we've really learned how to include the imperfections, if you will, or the bit of mistakes that happen, or little pieces that might not be perfect, but those flaws actually bring a lot of happiness on these calls.
They absolutely do. Yeah, those are always my favorite parts, actually.
Yes.
When the dogs come in or cats jump on the keyboard, cats come to say hello. So yeah, thanks, Holly. Indeed, I fully agree on that point, right? That just embrace the imperfections, and yeah, we're all in the same boat. All right, so looking at our journey, we have learned so much, and we're constantly learning. And I think, yeah, it's an ongoing process. Whatever you are doing, also, it would be so boring if it would just always be the same. But a couple tips that I would like to give you from my personal experiences. So what's really very motivating for me is to have fun. So I really have a lot of fun recording this episodes together with Holly. It's a whole cycle, like from the preparation to the actual recording to the after editing, to sharing it on social media, to getting the feedback from the community. The whole process is really fun. And if you, so we mentioned it before, right? Even if you're not looking into starting your own video series, but whatever it is next that you're going to do it with fun. I mean, that's that's definitely the tip number one. Have fun. That rhymes. Secondly, what was important for me to succeed was to have the right equipment. So as we already said before, like have the right lighting, have the right camera, microphone. That's all that I also did not have from the very start. And you just keep experimenting with the hardware that we needed for the video series. And lastly, I think preparation is very important. So even though if we had done tons of episodes, or you have so much experience in whatever it is that you're doing, I still believe that you always need to prepare. So whether if it's for a session, it's for a video series, make sure you dedicate time to your preparation. Then Holly.
So actually, Wesley just posted a question, and I would have to say that my number one would be an answer. This is your passion, right? So for me, I enjoy doing this. I don't procrastinate in doing these video series because it is something that I enjoy. I procrastinate on writing my Connect. I don't procrastinate on doing the work for these sessions, because not only is it important to me, people's time is really important. And so my time with Izzy is valuable. My guests are super valuable. And I want to show them that this is my passion. Their time is important. And so whatever your goal is, remember that. So when I wake up in the morning and I know we're going to have a session, I actually jump out of bed. I'm pretty stinking excited about doing these videos or these events. And that's what helps me, right? That's how I don't procrastinate on it, because time is too valuable to not give my effort into it. The other is your voice is important. Being a non-technical person in a very highly technical world, especially with Azure, sometimes I kind of feel like, what do I have to share? I work with so many intelligent humans that sometimes I feel like, what do I have to say that they don't know already? But then I realized that my passion for technology and my passion for branding and my friendship with Izzy and sharing this enjoyment that we have in bringing people together, it's so important that there's somebody out there who is going to want to hear it. It is going to motivate them. And at the end of the day, if something that we share motivates another human to do something that they care about, that's all that I need. And the other is, this is for me because I'm so hard on myself, don't stop learning how to make improvements. Every time we do a video series, we will typically do a recap, just the two of us, and think, what could we have done differently? How could we have made it better? How can we push each other to do things that we hadn't thought about? So I know for Izzy, one of the biggest things that she's taught me that I'm so thankful for is always personalize every experience. And the other is, so for people out there, for us, we use a lot of the social platforms. So we use, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all four of those have a different rhyme and reason and algorithm behind it. So she really helped me to understand how to use my voice on each channel and how to be more effective. So for those that are listening, if you're wanting to write a book, find out authors, find out how they're being used, find out how your words are important. If you're writing code, figure out what the best platform is for sharing that code, things like that. So for us, it was really learning from each other. And lastly, of course, just have fun. I think it really comes out in our episodes that we truly are enjoying this effort together.
Yeah, so then of course our show that we have been telling you about. Holly, you want to give us a bit more insights like on the past episodes that we did that people can...
Yes. Absolutely. So please follow us on our YouTube channel, reach out to us. We love to use social media to do what we can't do in real life that we love, which is connecting with our audience and the community. We've had so many amazing guests so far. We have Sam, who is an MVP for CDM community, who has just written a few books with other MVPs who were able to highlight that. We have Miri Rodriguez, who runs our effort for our recruiting. And those students she's written a book. And so we were able to highlight, her efforts. And we have Lisa Clark, who has her own technical podcast. She is also working at Dell and just absolutely amazing and inspiring. And so we're able to share these stories. We have so many people within the community that we have gotten to share their story. And our last that we just did was Stephen Simon, who showed us that when you have a little bit of money and you put that into your passion, he has created this incredible YouTube community that he gets to highlight all of the technology that he's working on and other people in community. So each one of them have a story, and we get to help voice their story and share it with the community and encourage others to go after whatever their passion is.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you follow us. Please subscribe to our channel. Of course, we also want to grow the community, and always welcome to hear your feedback. So I'll quickly say this one. Let's connect. Maybe Holly, you quickly want to tell us about where to find us. And
yeah, so we have our Twitter handles here. You are welcome to say hi anytime. We love to connect with community. We want to hear your story and share ours. So you can find us on Twitter or LinkedIn. We would love to connect with you and share your journey along the way.
Absolutely. That's also something that I really value so much during these weird, crazy times that we're all in, that we have the social platforms to stay connected with each other, to build new friendships, and to go back to the start. I mean, that's how Holly and I basically met, right? Through our community on Twitter. And we cannot wait for the day to actually meet in person. And we had already promised that we will do a live stream, or at least record that moment. Make sure to follow us, and you'll find out when the precious moment is going to happen.
And the funny thing is, I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter and said, "Hey, were you just at this restaurant?" And I said, "Yeah, that was me. You should have said hi." So we are when we say we have a passion for community, we truly do. If somehow we are connected in the same city, please say hi, reach out. And at the end of the day, we want to thank all of you, the Meetup community, for having us, Andre, Ricardo, and everybody that is listening. This was such an incredible opportunity for us to share our story and our passion with you. We are so thankful that you had us. All of the love from Seattle. Over to you in Ireland and, of course, Switzerland. So.
Absolutely. And then I do want to add to that. So if you heard at the beginning that I grew up over 25 years in the Netherlands, Today is a very special day because we already mentioned before we started with our session that today it's King's Day, which means it's the Dutch king's birthday. And then I saw this picture on the news today where it's actually our signature for Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. We end each episode with showcasing the heart sign with our guests. And having the session today at Meetup and having the royal family show their support, especially for Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community, I definitely wanted to highlight. And then one more fun fact. Yeah, like we already spoke a bit earlier, to personalize every experience. This is another one of them. So with the number 14, at least I automatically think about Valentine's Day and hearts, and yeah, which of course fits well with our brand, with the hearts. But it's also today the 14th Cork.net and Azure Meetup, and we record our 14th episode next month. So I believe somehow, right, it was meant to be that we
There
share.
you go. It's yeah, it's so you do one episode per month, right?
That's right.
So we started around the same time. That's cool.
When we
had
started,
we had some special like special releases, so it's a little bit less than 14. We had, I believe, 1 or 2 months where we had 2 episodes, but normally our cadence is once per month.
we started doing every 2 months, but with COVID and getting more people to talk from anywhere, we just started doing monthly. Else people would have to wait 1 year for the opportunity. There's like a huge queue, as you can imagine. Everyone wants to be here. Everyone loves the weather. So that's why we started doing every month. So yeah.
Well, and I think
Nice
that is
place
one
to
of the benefits to COVID, right? Like all of the things that we can't do live now, we were able to streamline it and do it virtually. And I think that's what started this whole effort with Izzy and I. And I would say for anyone listening, take that negative and spin it into a positive. And that's really how all of this started for us. So yeah, no, it is nice that we can do this virtually, even though I would much rather be there in real life soon.
Indeed. So yeah, that was our session. Also, out of my name, thank you so much for the people who tuned in. Also, the people from the Netherlands. I saw, right, Wesley, happy King's Day, and also to you guys. Thank you so much for having us. We always love to share, to share our passion and hopefully inspire others to create whatever they create, and to do it with lots of passion and lots of fun. So thank you.
That's exactly what I was thinking while you were talking about inspiring others to do the same, and that's kind of the driver to get this community working. It's to share my history or my story with people, what drives me, and that passion, and Andre and everyone here. So we thank you a lot for joining us today and finding the time, especially being in different time zones. So we are all in a different time zone, plus the people in the meeting, the attendees. So it's really awesome to get you all here today to share the story, and all everyone attending to hear this story, and hopefully to get inspired. And it were all great tips. I was going to say that we were going to take notes, but because this is being recorded, we'll definitely watch it again. But great tips even for the community and how to do it better. I see that Michaela has a question.
There's a couple of questions. I also have a couple of questions, but let's start with the attendees. So I think Wesley actually has something pretty cool. How do you overcome procrastination in preparing sessions? And this is a very good question. I suffer from this, Ricardo. So I'm thinking you suffer from this as well. Everybody suffers from this. So how do you handle it with the pressure of having to actually put up the videos on YouTube?
Want to answer, Holly?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it in my response, but it is our passion, so it's fun and it's something that I look forward to. The other is we do so much marketing when we're on Twitter saying this is coming, that's coming. We don't want to let anyone down, and we also want the people that we have on to know that their time is really valuable and it is something we care about. So we are going to put the time and effort into it so that we actually show up 100% for them every time.
All right, yeah, that's very good. And Michaela asked something that you learned through your video series, but something that really, really amazed it.
Yeah, it's so much. It's really so much. But I think one of the things that really amazes me is so of course we wanted to do the video series to highlight our guests. So really the human side, who are they? Like we have so many great names in our community that we know because they're active on technical sessions they're presenting or a blog that they're running, but who are they really? Like who's the person behind that blog or who's the person behind that session, to really get to know people and to, I don't know, just some fun facts to find out. And what I also learned is how it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's like you can almost call it like therapy or something. It's really every session we have learned so much from our guests. So whether if it's the tips they're sharing or it's learning about them, like about their side hustles. Yeah, it's I cannot name one thing, but yeah, so it's all of it.
And I think for myself, 100% to everything Izzy just said. But one thing I've learned from doing this series is there's always something to learn from another human. I have learned so much from Izzy, and I've learned something from every single person we've interviewed. And also because we genuinely have this love for the community, I feel like there's always some sort of emotional moment in our videos, and it really truly humanizes this community. I mean, people have this passion for Azure or for fashion or for community or whatever they're doing. But then when we're doing these, there's always a moment where their true emotion comes out and they're like, oh, okay, so then there's more to you. We actually bring the heart in the community, and it comes out in these interviews. And that's what I love so much, is to really take these people and names and humanize them and humanize technology.
So you make it really personal then. Yeah, which is sometimes these videos and interviews can sound a bit robotic, but you kind of took the a very human approach to it. So that's cool. So someone has it's Mikhail has another good question. How much time do you spend per week preparing and editing the video series while, conjugating things with life, family? And do you use any tools to time manage, such as Trello or Outlook?
That's a great question. So I think I will answer the first part of the question, the prep and edits, and I'll leave the juggling because Holly is the biggest juggler. Let's go between her and me to answer the part about indeed juggling between jobs and family. So time on preparation. How much time? Well, let's say an episode. So what we always do is we schedule 1 full hour with our guests, even if the episode recording is usually between, let's say, 25 to 35 minutes. So we make sure that we allow enough time in case something goes wrong, or to have a tech check, or to quickly just brief our guests, like the topics that we want to talk about. However, that's of course 1 hour that we take from our guests. Before that, it takes a couple more hours actually for Holly and myself to prepare. So doing, like I said before, doing the research on our guests. We don't just show up on a call and ask whatever questions. No, we personalize our questions to our guests. So we do the research. It's not that we like stalk them, that we go like out on the internet and find, like, dig up every little thing there is, but we really spend time on researching. Then Holly and I always have a prep call for each episode where she and I get together, whether if it's just like over WhatsApp or if we actually have a Microsoft Teams call. We quickly discuss the flow of the episode. So we agree for every episode, like who's going to start, who will do the intro, who will do the outro, just to make sure that we know like who's responsible for what and to ensure a better flow. So yeah, that also takes hours. And then after the editing, well, yeah, I mean, so you asked, I think, also what we use for that. So I use Camtasia as a software for the editing of the videos. And it's
What's the
really
name again? Sorry.
Camtasia.
Camtasia from techsmith.com. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm no video editor. I did not study or learn or take a course or anything, but Camtasia I think is very user friendly for people like me to to get to know the software and just like the basic tools to edit your video. So I highly recommend TechSmith. I think it's techsmith.com. To check out Camtasia and the free version, and yeah, just to play around. And like Holly said before, connect with us. Like if you have any questions, we're always happy to help. So if you want like a quick demo or something, or just let me know. So yeah, that's in terms of preparation. As you see, there's a lot more work before, during, and after each recording. And then Holly, up to you to tell us how you juggle between everything.
Yeah, well, and don't forget, we also have the invite where we prep a really personalized invitation to each one of our guests, asking them to be on the show and what the ask and the expectation is. And then we have the follow-up where we have another email where we basically prep our guests so that we make sure we hit everything that they want to talk about. Yes, then we have the online bit of research that we do. And then we have the thank you and the follow-up communication that goes out. Then there's also the coordinating for scheduling and getting it on the calendar so that nothing gets dropped. And then we have the ongoing marketing and branding that we do. So it's not just one and done. It is a lot that goes into it. As far as the juggling, I've just had to get used to that through COVID. Thankfully, my kids are back in school half a day. But yeah, it's a lot. It's figuring out when to make them breakfast, when to, get logged in. And then I also have my day job. So thankful. So it is a lot of juggling, but whenever you find what your passion is and what your goal is and what you want to achieve, you make it work, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to go without. You're going to make sure that everything gets done. And if something drops, I mean, you have to give yourself a little bit of patience, and it's fine, right? Like we have fun doing this. My kids actually have their own little, they mock us. They did their own little interview session, and it was pretty impressive what these two little girls come up with. So I let them see my passion. I've let them see that it's fun, and I bring them on my journey. So we've interviewed them, we have them on the call, they do little sessions with Izzy so that they don't feel like they're being left out or that it's a chore.
Great tips. Yeah, and I think one thing that we might be wondering is exactly what I was going to ask.
Question everybody wanted
to have
ask.
technical details. What cameras are you using? What microphones? What's like the basic setup to get people started if they want to follow your footsteps?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on a blog post on that because I recently moved. I upgraded my home office, so I will share photos, specifics, everything in hopefully the next couple of weeks. So I'll make sure to have that out on Twitter as well, so you can find it on my blog.
So one more reason to follow you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm currently using the Logitech Brio 4K camera, and I believe Holly has the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you have the Blue Yeti mic, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have the Rode, if you pronounce it that way. Not sure exactly which model it is, but I'll share that. I mean, I can quickly show it up here.
Yeah. And the one thing I would say to that question is this is where going out to the community is so important. So whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to achieve, don't be afraid to go out to the community and ask for input. I had no clue what the right equipment was. So I reached out to my friends that are cloud advocates because they have to have the best equipment. They need to know they're going to show up for all of their events and their video calls. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking of doing a podcast or a video series or whatever it is, if there's input we can help, send us a mail, DM us. And if it's outside of that scope, go find the people in the community where you can go ask for their input and advice.
Yeah. And then lastly, for my light, I use the Elgato, the ring light, which I personally really love because you can control it, as you can see here, with an app.
Oh, okay.
So I can switch it on, I can switch it off. You will see the difference, right? No light, with light. I can put it brighter, I can make it warmer. Yeah, so that's the Elgato ring light. Highly recommend that one. Very happy with it.
And if you want just to do a proof of concept, you don't have to get like the latest technology. You can get like something starter
Exactly.
and just get it going and see how it goes. And up then you can start to upgrade and go from there.
Absolutely.
But I think that the first thing is taking the first step and try to do
Well, and
something.
I would encourage you to listen to our last episode with Stephen Simon, who goes into how. Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, he talked about how he had no money. He said, I had this certain amount of money in my account. I knew that I wanted to do webinars. I wanted to do my own podcast. So that was his passion, and he spent the little bit of money that he had, and he's created this huge YouTube channel. So yeah, you do have to spend a little money in order to make that investment, but it is worth it. And yeah, baby steps, like Izzy said.
Yeah, that was indeed immediately what I had to think of. Indeed, Simon, with a very inspiring story. Indeed, yeah. So that's our latest episode. Have a look.
I have two questions. One is, how did you overcome stage fright, if you ever had it? Because it is something that I feel sometimes uncomfortable talking to
I'm
people.
still sweating over here. I haven't overcome anything.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So the trick
It's
is
not
to keep
only
your
me
hands,
then.
your hands behind the line of the camera.
So you don't feel so. What about you, Izzy? Do you feel a bit of stage fright, or?
So that's a very good question, because I think I'm a perfect example of how to overcome. I would have such bad stage fright that I would literally throw up the night before. That's how sick I would get. Like my fiance, he can confirm, I would literally throw up of how nervous I am to actually get on a stage. I really hated it, but I had to. I mean, I'm a conference organizer. I had to be there for a welcome note. I had to welcome a full room of people. I had to thank them at the end. I just could not do it, right? I cannot have somebody else run my conference and do my welcome note and so on. So I just had to. That's one thing. Secondly, what really helped me, and that's what I encourage for every person who's starting or who still has that fright, is to find an ally. So I did not have to stand on that huge stage all alone. I had my co-organizer with me. So it will be the two of us. So that I did not make it less scary for me, but I knew that if I would like lose my words, or if I would mess something up, that there's somebody else to help me on that spot. And I mean, there are a couple tips that people give, like, yeah, just imagine everybody in the room is naked, which I never understand why. Because I'm like, oh God, like, please no. Yeah, but like how I overcame, for me, that's another positive, which for me came out of COVID. So suddenly everything pivoted online and sessions became virtual. And somehow being at the comfort of your own home, like safe behind your camera, behind your own microphone, it is less scary. I mean, like Holly said, she has sweaty hands. I mean, of course, I also still feel the nerves, but it's less scary. And the more we do our session, the more we present, the more comfortable I feel on stage. And the nice thing about virtual, if I get too nervous, I'll just hang up and I blame it on the Wi-Fi.
That's a very good one. Yeah.
So I'll say real quickly, I'll say for myself, when they were live, I run all these events for partners, MVPs, and customers. And I, like Izzy, I would be so nervous the night before because I'm thinking of all the money we've spent, the time away from their families, and they're leaning on me to show up and have this event be what they want and go home feeling like they were satisfied with it. But then I also realized in my car, every time I'd walk in, they showed up for me. I need to show up for them. So no matter how nervous I am, no matter how scared, I have to go in and be a personality, and I have to make it worth it for them. I will say, being in hospitality for so many years, I learned how to just put on a smile and show up. And I have brought those traits with me here. I will say, looking at Bart's question, if you watched our shows, you'll see that although we do talk about technology, it ends up being a very, very small amount of tech talk in these interviews. It truly ends up being more about who they are, what their passion is. And I like to highlight how people got into their job, because quite often we find out none of them actually started in tech. And for someone like myself who deals with imposter syndrome daily, when I'm talking to all of these very technical, very smart humans in tech, I have to remind myself that we're all here for a reason. And so we like to extend that opportunity to our guests to show how they got into tech, why they enjoy it, how other people can start their career, and whatever it might be, whether they think they belong in it or not. We do all come with a skill set. And so, to your point, yes, we do talk a lot about who they are, what their background is, and there's like maybe 5% of the actual tech chit chat.
Indeed. Yeah.
My
So
last
that's-
question
Yeah.
is just for Easy. Easy, Isidora.
Whatever you
Easy.
want. Easy is easy.
Easy is easy. It's the story about the food. Was it before or after the tasting?
So it happened before. It happened
Okay.
before I went to Ireland, and it was actually very stupid. But that's always like when you break something, it's like the stupid accident. So I was at the gym, so that's a sign how dangerous sports can be. And I was at what's the English word? I think it's a cross trainer, the one where you
Yeah.
I was on a cross trainer and I was on Twitter at the same time. And then I was not paying attention. And then because I was just like with one arm and then like with the other hand with my phone, like scrolling through Twitter. And then my, I don't know, just went faster than my feet could handle that. So one of my feet like slipped through the machine. I like, then it just broke my big toe. Yeah. So
That's how much you love the community. You put yourself at risk.
Exactly, yeah.
Indeed. So
Yeah, but
and
I'm pretty sure that on the wheelchair, the whole trip through the Guinness was more enjoyable because no one could see you swinging around.
It was. I mean, also because it was like pretty crowded, and it's
You get the priority and stuff. No, oh, let her pass. She's on the
Some
wheelchair.
friends who were just like pushing me around, but yeah.
Okay, so Vesley's messing with you.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I would like to thank you again for joining us, and we're always available to welcome you again anytime you want to share your lessons learned and your experience with us. And thanks again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if there's ever anything that I can help you with, as far as if you're looking for some speakers in Azure, you're welcome to reach out to me. I might know a few people.
We are always on the hunt for
right.
great content. So after the event, the talking, we raffle some prizes from our sponsors. You're invited to stay if you want. If you can't, thank you for joining us.
This was so fun. Thank you, everyone.
Before you start raffling, I don't want to leave questions unanswered. I see Hakan still had one more question.
Oh.
So how much time in the future are you planning for? And do you already have recorded your next guest, for example? So our episodes are really freshly recorded. So the month that we release them, that's the month that we record our session. So we don't have like pre-recorded sessions for the next couple of months. It's really in each month. It's fresh, it's relevant. So for example, the May episode still needs to be recorded. So that's to answer that question. And how much time
we do have the guests prepared and on the calendar, though. So I will say we do pipeline out our guests so that it's not a last minute scurry. We really think about who the guests are. And we make sure we have it a month out so that it works for everybody, and we're respectful of their time zone and time allotment.
Great stuff. Okay,
I
thank
think
you
that's it.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll share the Wheel of Fortune.
Is that
Uh,